Hi, it's Jo from Minerva. Today I'm going to show you how to set in a sleeve. I'm working on quite a small scale item at the moment, which is a girl's dress. It's lined and I'm going to put the sleeve into the sleeve hole. There's a few things to remember before you start. So you need to cut it out and make sure that you've put all of the notches and markings on the sleeve, because that will help you to set them in. The next thing you need to do is to put a row of easing stitches along the top of your sleeve head. And you're going to use the gathering technique by pulling the bottom threads to just make the top of your sleeve head a curve shape. Now you're not trying to get gathers here, you're just trying to make the top of your sleeve curl round on its own and take some of that excess fabric out. Keep it gentle, don't gather it unless you're making a puff sleeve, of course, but just for easing stitches it just needs to create that curve shape. The one notch that you've transferred off the pattern is the front, and a double notch with two little markings is for the back, and not always the same size or quite the same gradient, so you need to make sure you're getting them in the right way. There will also be a point at the top, a center point that goes on the shoulder seam of whatever you're making. Don't assume it's, if you fold it in half, it's in the middle, because it isn't always. So this one is slightly rolled to the front. So make sure you've got all the markings before you start. I'm working on quite a small scale here, but I'm going to set my sleeve into this opening here. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that I've got the right sleeve for the right hole. So this is one notch, right sides together, and my one notch is on my front piece. So I'm going to put in some 4 key pins before I start messing around with my sleeve. So underarm seam is the first one, pin, the shoulder point to the shoulder seam, pin, and the notch on the side with the notch marking on the armhole, pin there, and the same on the back. So you've got the 4 main points attached, and now you can start easing in the rest of the sleeve. I like to pin my sleeve from the inside, because when I put it under the machine I want the pins to be on the outside so they're not scratching me, and I want to turn the work under the machine by sewing inside the hole. That way I can see if I'm getting any big puckers on that piece of fabric that we're easing in. If I did it from the other side, I'd assume that lots of nice smooth things were happening, but on the reverse is where we're trying to ease that extra bit of fabric in. So I'm going to make sure that I pin lots and lots of pins, and I don't mean 3 or 4, I mean lots and lots of pins. So what you need to try and do is keep a bit of tension on your bodice piece, but then let the sleeve gently relax, and that way you'll have taken a lot of fabric. So keep a tension on the outer, let the sleeve relax, and you'll get these tiny little sort of hillocks, little humps, and that's the excess fabric. But where you sew, you can keep that quite flat. You'll only be able to do it if you put lots and lots of pins in, and those little humps are all the ease that you're taking in. And it takes a while. You take some in, then you take some out, and then you feel with your finger. It's quite a tactile thing for you to feel all along where the humps are. But this is the amount of pins that you'll be putting in a sleeve. Right, if you're feeling confident, you can put this straight under the machine and sew from the inside, and as you sew, pull the pins out. Or if you want to tack it, that's fine too. If you sew over the pins, you get like a baggier stitch going over there, and you can also run the risk of breaking your needle and a piece shooting out. So just pull the pins out as you go. As you sew, keep a good tension on the front of your work, and that will keep the ripples out. And also use your fingertips to feel that the fabric is nice and flat as you're going through. And you can just check it when you turn it out. You shouldn't have any puckers along here. Should be quite a smooth head there. And you can use a sleeve board to press in there, or you can put a ham inside, and you can use the ham to manipulate the shoulder, and then you can really press and get a really good smooth seam around the upper shoulder.